Hey everybody! So in this video, we are going to be talking about how to communicate with system members who cannot talk to you. Understand that these tips work whether you are a member of a system or whether you are a loved one of a system. Now, first, let's discuss why you may not be able to speak to a particular system member. Perhaps they speak a different language. They may be nonverbal or preverbal. They may be mute. They may be deaf. There are a multitude of reasons why you would not be able to communicate with a particular system member verbally. And just like there are a multitude of reasons, there are a multitude of solutions to this particular issue. Now, for system members who are able to write or draw, you can have them write out messages to you or draw you pictures to show what it is that they're trying to communicate. And then you can do the same back. For those who are not able to do this, a picture exchange system, otherwise called PECs, which is often used for nonverbal individuals who are singletons, can be used. What this is a system of pictures of different objects and different activities that are then handed to the individual to communicate, this is what I want, or this is what I want to do. And this is a great way to communicate, especially with younger system members who may be pre-verbal, as they're fairly simplistic in what they can and can't communicate via the PEC system, but they offer enough communication to get the general message across. You can also make your own pictures. You could take pictures of different emotion faces, pictures of different objects, pictures of different foods, pictures of different things that would represent activities such as going to bed, brushing teeth, what have you, and then they could use those pictures to communicate. Now, if you're dealing with a system member who speaks another language, you have the option of finding an interpreter. Whether that's someone in the system or outside of the system will depend on whether or not anyone else in the system speaks the same language as this particular system member. But an interpreter can be a great way to help you communicate with this system member, and also, over time, they can work to learn your language and you can work to learn their language so that you both can communicate effectively. But because learning a new language can take time, having an interpreter there to help in the meantime can be very effective. And also, with a system member who does not speak the same language, if an interpreter is out of reach for you for whatever reason, you have the option again of using pictures. Because pictures can communicate a lot. They may not be able to communicate things as complexly as words, but they can certainly communicate what a person needs or feels. Now, a translation text to voice works far better for older system members who can spell effectively, read, and write well. Then they can write it in their language, and then the device will say it in the language of the person they're trying to talk to. So, say for instance, you have a system member who speaks Portuguese, and you don't. You speak English. This type of software would allow them to type what they want to say to you in Portuguese, and then it would translate it and would say it to you in English. And then you could do the same. Type something in English, and it would say it to them in Portuguese. And this would allow you to communicate back and forth. So it is certainly a viable option if you're able to find one that will work for you. If the system member you're communicating with is deaf, mute, selectively mute, or otherwise is just purely unable to express themselves in a verbal way or hear you in a verbal way, then sign language can be a very good option. It might take time to learn, but even if all you can learn right away is the basic alphabet, as long as they can spell and read, you can spell out anything that you need to say to them. It might take longer, but it's certainly a viable way of communicating at first. Over time, you would certainly want to learn more signs and be able to say more specific things. But for a beginning step, learning the basic alphabet and spelling what you want to say is a perfectly viable option. Now, this can be very effective for mute or nonverbal individuals who are capable of reading, writing, and spelling. Text-to-voice software, wherein you can write what it is that you want to say, and the phone or tablet or other device will say it out loud for you. If you have a system member who is mute or selectively mute or deaf, then helping them to communicate can be a very big deal, because they may feel very lost or anxious when they're unable to communicate their needs or wants. The same is true with nonverbal, pre-verbal, and otherwise unable to communicate with you system members. Anyone in a system who is not able to effectively communicate with you but wishes to do so is liable to feel a lot of anxiety. That's why it's particularly important that you foster some form of communication between you and this system member. Whether that's a picture exchange system, whether that's writing, drawing pictures, sign language, or learning another language. However you can communicate with them, it is important that you do so. So overall, I hope everyone understands the importance of being able to communicate with system members who may need to communicate in different ways than verbally, and the importance of finding a system of communication that works for all parties involved. Because communication is incredibly important. It is the way that we create understanding. It is the way that we connect with others. So being unable to communicate can be very, very scary. So I hope all of you out there who have a system member, either in your own system or in the system of a loved one, will take a more compassionate look at working towards speaking their language if you haven't in the past, or will continue to do so if you have. So we hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and don't forget to hit that notification bell. Have a good day, everybody.